After defeating the alien that killed her entire crew, Ripley and her cat are frozen in a cryogenic pod while their spacecraft drifts through space. Eventually the ship is intercepted by a salvage vessel, and since the crew thinks Ripley's ship is an old abandoned shuttle, they use a welding torch to make their way inside. However, their salvaging plans are dropped when they notice Ripley is alive. Sometime later Ripley wakes up in the medical bay of a space facility orbiting Earth. After a nurse checks on her, she's visited by Burke, a representative of the company Ripley works for. Burke brings her the cat and informs her that she's been in hypersleep for 57 years because her ship drifted through space until the salvage vessel found it by coincidence. Suddenly the cat hisses and triggers Ripley's PTSD, causing her to start convulsing. The staff comes over to try to restrain her while Ripley asks them to end things for her, then she pulls her shirt up to reveal something dangerous in her stomach. At that moment Ripley wakes up, confirming the last part had been a nightmare. A nurse asks her if she needs something to help her sleep, but Ripley declines. Sometime later, the company's board interrogates Ripley about what happened, so she shares everything about her fight against the alien. However, they don't believe her and consider her mentally unstable, so they revoke her flight license and submit her to psychiatric supervision. Ripley asks why they don't send people to the planet where her crew found the alien to get proof and learns that the planet, which has been named LV-426, has already been colonized for 30 years by terraformers, who are creating an atmosphere to make the place habitable. A few days later, Ripley finally is released and gets an apartment, where Burke visits her again with Lieutenant Gorman of the Colonial Marines. They tell Ripley that they lost contact with LV-426 and think it must be the aliens, so the company will send a squadron of Marines to investigate. Since Ripley has experience with these aliens, they would like her to come and be an advisor, and if she agrees, the company will reinstate her as a warrant officer. However, Ripley refuses, dreading the thought of going back and frustrated at the company's two-faced attitude toward her. That night Ripley wakes up from another terrible nightmare and realizes this won't stop until she confronts her fears. She calls Burke, and after he assures her that the mission to LV-426 is to kill all the aliens and not to study them, she agrees to join